Okay, myself Sunil, and I'm the trainer for Azure Administration. Okay, I started my career as a SQL database administrator in TCS. Okay, after that, later on, I moved to Berkadia. There, I worked for 1 year. After that, I moved to NCR. In NCR, I worked for nearly 5 years as Azure Administrator and DevOps engineer. Okay, and recently, few months back, I moved to another Fortune 500 product-based organization. And overall, I'm having nearly 12 plus years IT experience and having 5 years experience in Azure Admin and Azure DevOps. Okay, so as I mentioned, right, I'm having vast experience in giving presentations to clients, guiding mentors, interns, explaining complex topics to my teammates, and clearing the doubts. And this is the first time I'm taking online classes, but trust me, friends, I will give complete information about Azure administration from scratch. Okay, I am going to start from basics so that even fresher can get a job. Okay, first of all, we will discuss who are all eligible to take this course. Okay, we will discuss about eligibility. So as I mentioned, right, I'm going to teach you all from basics. So freshers are people who are currently working in any IT field are eligible. But to get a job for freshers, they have to practice at least 4 hours a day. And for people who are already working in technologies like Windows administration, Linux administration, network administration, or database administration, for them, they have to practice at least 1 hour per day to get a job. And for people who are working in IT but not from the above mentioned technologies, they have to practice for at least 2 hours per day. Okay. So, as I mentioned, right, if anyone is eligible for this course, but they have to practice as per, they have to follow classes, they have to attend classes regularly daily, and they have to practice each and every topic. Then only they are going to get a job. Okay, so as you see my profile, okay, I started my career in TCS as SQL database administrator. From TCS to I moved to Berkadia. From Berkadia to I moved to NCR. Okay, so I started my career as a SQL database administrator, but at present I'm working as Azure administrator, and I'm also working in Azure DevOps. Okay, in NCR. Okay, I joined in NCR on November 2016. Okay, but within 8 months, okay, we migrated all our SQL databases to SQL DBs to Azure SQL, Azure Cloud. So at the time, I got an opportunity to learn about Azure SQL. So at the same time, I got an opportunity to learn on Azure technologies like Azure Compute Services, like virtual machines, storage. Okay, so that's how I changed my career. I switched my career from as a SQL database administrator to Azure admin and DevOps. Okay, and so last year maybe at the time of Feb or March, I thought to change the organization. But if you see, okay, I don't have any resume related to uh, Azure because all my previous experience was on SQL. Okay, from TCS to Berkadia, I had a SQL resume, and all the interviews are mostly based upon SQL. From Berkadia to NCR, all my resumes were on SQL DB related activities, and all the interviews are related to SQL activities. Okay, from in NCR, I don't have any interview, but I internally switched to Azure Admin technology. But last year, I thought to switch organization, but I don't have any resume related to Azure. At the same time, I don't have any experience in attending interviews related to Azure. But trust me, guys, I selected for nearly 4 organizations. Okay, 4 organizations, and I have cleared nearly 10 companies. Okay, 10 organizations, nearly 2 to 3 rounds. Okay, I will show you these things. If you see here, see, I got an offer letter from HCL. Okay. At the same time, I got an offer letter from Reliance, and I got an offer letter from Cognizant. Okay. And at present, I am working in another product based organization. Okay. So I didn't take any screenshots related to level of interviews I cleared, but I cleared all the interviews. Okay, whatever the company I attended, right? I cleared all the rounds. Okay, so these are all the screenshots related to offer letters I got recently. I mean, 2 to 3 months back. At the same time, see, at the same time, last year itself, I cleared 3 certifications. If you see here, earned on, I have a certification, Microsoft DevOps Engineer Expert. Okay, I got this certification on May 7, 2022. Okay, similarly, I cleared Azure Administrator Associate AZ 104 certification on April 2022, and at the same time, I earned Azure Fundamentals, Azure 900 certification on April 9, 2022. Okay. So if you see the dates I have ended the certificate, okay, within 1 to 2 months, I cleared all these examinations. Okay. So what I'm saying is it's completely depend upon the application knowledge we have, and we need to know what are all the main topics interviewers are going to focus, because there are vast number of concepts in Azure administration, but we have to mainly focus on the concepts which interview are going to focus. Okay, we have to mainly focus on those concepts. And if you see here, I am going to explain you each and everything via diagrams. Okay, so that you can easily understand. Okay, this is the few sample snippets. Okay, this is the diagram related to service principle, this is the diagram related to manage identity. Okay, and this is the diagram related to RBAC role based access control. Okay, each and everything I am going to explain in pictorial representation, so that you guys can easily understand, and there is no chance to forget how these things are working. Because as I mentioned, right, mostly interviewers are focusing on basics. Okay, from basics itself they are going to ask complex questions. We thought, okay, no need to work on basics. So if you know how to create a VM, that's enough. But that won't work. Okay, they are going to ask like, what are availability sets, can I keep and VM in availability set? Okay, once VM is in availability set, is it possible to move that VM from availability set to another availability zone? So they are going to ask those kind of scenario based questions. So they won't directly ask how to create a VM. Okay, they are going to ask based on scenario. So we have to be good at basics. So okay, that's the reason I am going to focus on basics, and I am going to teach each and everything by pictorial representation. Okay, I'm, as I mentioned, right, I switched my career from database administration to Azure. Okay, 5 years back, I went through a lot of Microsoft trainings, articles. I went through a lot of courses from other third-party vendors. But yes, I got knowledge, but not from single source of content. Okay, I have gone through many courses, many articles, many trainings, so that it took for me an entire 1 hour to get a complete picture. So that's the reason I can help you all. I can help all you guys, so that within 2 months, okay, within 2 months, I will surely focus on what are the things which are going to important to survive in any organization. Okay, so this is our course content. Okay, we are going to start with Azure, introduction to Azure. After that, virtual missions, virtual scale sets, app services. Okay, if you go through the content, everything I mentioned. Okay, beyond the course content I am going to discuss. Okay, I mentioned very few things in the course content, but beyond the course content I am going to cover many things. Okay, because I have vast knowledge on Azure. At the same time, I have vast knowledge on Azure DevOps. So that's the reason I know how we are going to deploy an application from scratch. Okay, so I can cover all the topics. Okay. Any queries until now? Okay.
No, sir.
If you don't have queries, okay, I will so since as I said, right, this is my first batch, I will really keep lot of focus on each and everyone. Okay. I will ask daily updates from you, and I will try to clear all your doubts. Okay. I will make you understand all the concepts, and I will help you to prepare resumes, help you to prepare for interviews, and help you to pass Microsoft certifications as I showed you, right? As I showed you here, right? I cleared all the certifications, and I will guide you how to easily clear all the certifications. Okay. And one more thing. So as I mentioned, right, I am going to teach each and everything as a pictorial way. And coming to Azure roles and responsibilities in the sense, okay, what mainly Azure administration will do, Azure administrator will do. Okay. I will provide you notes, whatever I'm going to inform you, right? Because due to time constraints, I'm not able to mention all the details here, but I'm going to provide you notes, right? So what are the roles and responsibilities of Azure administrators in the sense? Okay. They are going to deploy and manage Azure compute resources, like they're going to deploy VMs, virtual machine scale sets. Okay. And availability sets, availability zones, Azure web apps, Azure container instances. Okay. So, or else I think it's better to give you an overview. Before that, I will just share you a small example so that you guys can get a better picture. Okay. See, let us take a simple example. Okay. Suppose in late 1990s, okay, suppose in late 1990s, TCS got a project from railways, our Indian railways. TCS got a project, like to maintain to develop an application, okay, to maintain data related to their employees. Okay. It's a simple application. Okay. To maintain data related to railway employees. Okay. What TCS will do? Okay. They will assign that project, they will assign that project to a team. Okay. Some They will assign that to develop that application to a certain team. What team will do? They are going to develop that application in their own personal laptop. Okay. Personal computers. But the thing here is, application can't run on personal computers, because you have to know the difference between personal desktops and the servers. Okay. Is anyone have any idea about what is server? Okay, no issues. Okay. So so they can't keep the application in the desktop. Okay. They have to deploy that application to the server. What do you mean by server? In the sense, they are like desktop computers, they are similar to desktop computers, but desktop computers have their own limitations because they are not designed to handle large workloads. Okay. Okay, they are not designed to handle large workloads, whereas coming to servers, they are designed to handle large workloads. Okay. Whenever we deploy an application in a server, okay, it has to be served that application 24/7. Okay. We can't keep our laptop or computer 24/7, right? We will work for 1 to 2 hours. After that, at least for 5 to 6 hours, after that we are going to shut down our computer. But whereas with server, it has to be online for 24/7. Okay. So that anyone can access that application. Think I deployed, okay, Google. Suppose we are opening Google, right? Google.com. Suppose if Google application is deployed on the personal computer. Okay. Think like that. If someone shut down the computer, what will happen? it's not possible to access the website, okay, google.com. If you search google.com, we are going to get an error like 404 error because unable to access the website. So that's the reason, okay, what people will do is they are going to deploy the website in a server, okay. Now you got the difference, right? What is the difference between personal desktop and the difference between server? Server is the one, it's like a powerful centralized computer that clients connect through over a network, okay. It's a powerful centralized computer. If you simply compare, okay, these computers CPU will come with Intel i7 or i5 core processor, whereas with servers, with their cpu uh, their CPU is completely different. They will come with Intel Xeon processors, okay. So that's the reason they can handle multiple requests, multiple processors, multiple load, okay. So once they developed that application, okay, data load application, they will simply deploy that application to server, okay. And here you guys need to know what is data center. Data center is nothing but it's a building where we have set of servers, okay. In simple terms, data center is a building where we have set of servers, okay. This is the complete picture happening in late 1990s, okay. Now in 2000s we have a concept called virtualization in the sense, suppose think here, I have a server with 32 GB RAM, 32 GB RAM, okay, and 4 processors, okay, and nearly 500 GB disk space, okay. Think this is the picture in early 1990s, okay. And I deployed the application in the server, okay, but it's a small application. It's not, it only consuming 4 GB RAM and 2 processors, okay, and 100 GB disk space. So here what's happening, if you see, okay, out of 32, only 4, the application is consuming only 4 GB, okay. So we are wasting nearly 28 GB RAM. So out of 4 processors, our application is only consuming 2 processors, and out of 500 GB disk space, okay, our application is consuming only 100 GB disk space. So we are not using the server up to the mark, okay. So that's the disadvantage we have in early 1990s, okay. Later on industry came up with a concept called virtualization is nothing but, okay, dividing the server into multiple parts like virtual servers, okay. If you see this diagram, okay, in virtualization we have two types, okay. So think this is the computer, we have hardware like CPU, RAM, okay, disk, okay. On bare metal, okay, on this hardware we don't have any OS, it's like a bare metal. On bare metal we will install the virtualization software, okay, so that the software will help us to create virtual servers, okay. Means we will have OS and we will have a like one server, we can install our own OS and we can deploy our own application. Similarly, we can create one more virtual server with whatever OS we want, and we can deploy whatever application we want, okay. So this is like we are installing virtualization software on bare metal, I mean hardware, okay. And we have one more type of virtualization called, on top of hardware we will install one software like either Windows or Linux, okay. On top of that we will install virtualization software, okay. So again, same concept. We can create one virtual server. So what is the main advantage with virtualization is, right? So think again, we have 32 GB RAM, 4 processor, and 500 GB disk server. Okay. Now I will make the server into 3 parts. Okay, like 3 GB RAM. Okay, and one processor, and 100 GB disk space. Similarly, okay, and in this server I will install Windows. So similarly I will create one more virtual server. Similarly with again 3 GB RAM, 3 or 6 server again with 6 GB RAM. Similarly with the 2 processors and 100 GB, or 1 processor 100 GB. Okay, see, now I am going to deploy my application on one virtual server. Okay, because here what is the main advantage is like we are completely utilizing the resources. Okay, so I am deploying one application, okay, with 3 GB RAM, 2 process, 100 GB, and still I can use remaining RAM, processor and hard disk space with the virtualization concept. Because see here, if I don't have virtualization concept, I can simply install Windows, or if it is a Windows based application, I can simply install Windows OS. On top of that, I can deploy my application. But the main disadvantage is here it is not utilizing all the resources it is having. So that's the reason they have introduced virtual concept, okay, and created virtual servers, so that I am completely utilizing this server compute now. Okay, I'm completely utilizing 32 GB now, because I have partitioned the complete server into parts based upon the RAM, processors, disk space. Okay, now you got it right. What do you mean by virtualization? So any queries related to virtualization? So, because the thing here is you have to clearly understand what do you mean by server and what is the concept of virtualization. Because they are the basics and everything starts from there itself. So that's the reason I'm giving an example with these things. So if you have any doubts, let me know, or else I will proceed.
I think you can go ahead, Sunil. We have no question.
Yeah, okay. So with the help of virtualization, we are utilizing the resources almost 90%. Okay, 90% of the resources we are utilizing. And think think we have a scenario like, okay, think IIT guys. Okay, think IIT guys are planning to start an application like eCart. Okay, so so before starting an application, as per this picture, what they need data center in the sense they need to buy a land, and they need to buy a building, or they need to construct a building. In the building they need to buy a servers, everything they have to keep. Okay, or else they can lease a building and they have to purchase servers. But for startup company, they have to nearly invest 15 to 20 lakhs for this entire setup, because they need to, okay, as mentioned, right, they have to acquire a building, or they have to take building for lease, and they have to buy servers. Okay, these servers are not like personal desktops. Okay, they are very costly. They have to buy servers, and at the same time they have to hire uh, Windows administrators. Okay, because if it is a Windows application, Windows administrators are going to handle everything related to OS. Okay, those guys will handle those tasks, server setup, everything. And they have to hire network engineers, because people have to connect this application, right? For that entire network setup, they have to be set up by network administrators. The main purpose of network administrators is they will create firewalls. Okay, they will set up entire network. Similarly, they have to hire database engineers, because see, the application will consist two things. Okay, the front end and back end. Back end, again, it's database. Okay, everything. Suppose if I open Flipkart, so whatever the data we are getting, right, everything, see, the Samsung, everything will be stored in database. From database only we are fetching all these details. Okay, so they need to hire database engineers. Okay, so So everything they have to build from scratch, and they need to have at least 30 to 40 lakhs to implement an idea. So that's the main drawback, okay, they are facing if they want to develop any application. Okay, so that's the reason. Okay, in 2006, Amazon, you know Amazon, right? Amazon came up with a concept called cloud computing. Cloud computing in the sense, okay, okay, they will have their own building. Okay, in building they will keep all the servers. Okay, and with the help of virtualization concept, they will divide server into many virtual servers. Okay, and they will just lease everything like compute, storage, networking, everything will be take care by Amazon or respect to cloud provider. Okay, so we just have to pay for the resources we use. Okay, so they came up with a concept called cloud computing. So here you need to understand two definitions. Okay, what is cloud? Okay, cloud is nothing but, as I mentioned, right, it's just a big building filled with computers, servers, okay, that provide services. Or we can also say all clouds are like data centers. Okay, I will show you here. So this is called data center. Okay, so one big building. Okay, so these are all the servers. Okay, this one server, again in the server they are going to install virtualization software, so that the server will again divided into multiple virtual servers. Okay, this is another server, same virtualization concept. So these are all the servers. We can call this is called a rack. Okay, rack consists of many servers. Okay, and again servers divided into again virtual servers. Okay, or virtual machines. So similarly, many racks. Okay, this entire building is called as data center. Okay, now you got it right. What do you mean by cloud? Cloud is nothing but it's like a one data center or multiple data centers. Okay, so here, and companies own these clouds. Okay, many companies, okay, came up with the idea. First this idea was first implemented by Amazon. Okay, they came up with an idea called AWS. Okay, in at the time of Amazon started at AWS started at 2006. Okay, at 2006 they came up with an idea like, okay, startups people are facing issues. Because the thing is, here is they can't invest 30 to 40 lakhs. Okay, to start any application. Okay, even though they have money. Okay, they can invest 40 lakhs. Okay, but they are not sure, right? Suppose I have a plan to start a website called eCart. Okay, I have money, I have 50 lakhs with me. Okay, I lease a building and I bought servers, everything. I hired data engineers, database engineers, network engineers, storage engineers, everyone I had, and started the application. But whatever the application I started, right, but that application got failed because no one is using my application eCart, because we have many competitors like Amazon, Flipkart, so no one is using eCart. So at that time, entire I'm getting lost, right, because I have already invested 50 lakhs to buy the servers, to hire engineers, everything. But I'm facing losses here. So that's the reason Amazon came up with a solution like, we are going to provide all the service, we are going to provide servers, okay, storage, network, everything we are going to take care. You just deploy your application on our servers and we are going to take everything. I mean, we are going to provide everything. Like, we are going to provide you virtual machines, I mean servers. We are going to provide storage. We are going to provide network. We are going to provide security. You just pay what pay as you go. Okay, how much you are using, pay for that. That's it. So this concept is easy, right? So suppose I want to deploy. I have an idea to develop an eCut now. So what I will do, I will simply go to this AWS website. Okay, AWS, and I will simply create one virtual mission. I mean one server, and I am going to deploy my application on that server. Okay, instead of leasing building, instead of buying servers, hiring engineers, everything, within fraction of minutes, I'm just creating a server and I'm just deploying an application in the server. Okay, so this is the concept called cloud computing. Okay, in simple terms we can say cloud computing is, it's like a delivery of computing services. Okay, it's a delivery of computing services including servers, storage, databases, network, software over the internet. Okay, okay, we are here, and we are using the data centers, okay, which are built or which are provided by any cloud provider. Okay, who are cloud providers? In the sense, company own the clouds. Okay, these are the clouds. Clouds are inter nothing but data centers. Okay, company own the clouds are called cloud providers. Okay, and their purpose is to sell their computers as a service. They are just selling these services like virtual machine, storage, network, everything they are selling, and we are paying based upon our consumption. Okay, so that's the reason nowadays many startup companies are rising, because they don't have to buy servers, they don't have to maintain data centers. They can simply create a server either in AWS, either in Amazon, either in Google. Okay, so that's the reason nowadays we are seeing major and vast number of websites. That's the reason internet expanded so much, because of the concept virtualization and because of the concept uh, like cloud computing, which was initiated by AWS. Okay, so as I mentioned, right, AWS was the one who initiated this concept cloud computing in 2006. Okay, and Azure started similar project in 2008. Okay, with the name Project Red Dog. Okay, so after that in 2010 it officially announced as Windows Azure. Okay, again in 2014 it renamed it as Microsoft Azure. Okay, and similarly Google came up with similar concept. It's GCP. It's in 2012. Okay, so so you got an idea, right? What is cloud computing? Okay, what do you mean by cloud? Okay, because they are basics. Okay, I will mention one more time, cloud computing. Okay, cloud computing, delivery of computing services. Okay, including servers, storage, network, databases over the internet. What do you mean by cloud? In the sense, it's nothing but data center. Data center or multiple data centers. So types of cloud. There are three types of cloud. Okay, private, public, hybrid. So in this example, we can simply say what is private cloud, what is public cloud. Okay, private cloud in the sense, okay, if you see here, if you see this is the data center owned by TCS, right? So and complete authority, I mean complete servers, and what are the applications hosted on those servers, everything, complete authority. TCS have the complete authority on the physical servers in the sense servers. Okay, on top of that we have installed virtualization and virtual servers. Everything belongs to TCS, right? So this is called as private cloud. Okay, it's simply we can say the cloud computing resources are resources used exclusively by a single business or organization. Okay, we can simply say like resources used by single business or organization, because these are the data centers owned by TCS, and the servers, okay, bought by TCS, and the virtual machines, everything owned by TCS. So this is called as private cloud because everything belongs to single organization. Okay, and no one have that authority. Like suppose Infosys don't have any authority or any access on these servers. Okay, so this is called as private cloud. Coming to public cloud, as I mentioned, right? AWS, Azure, GCP, what are all the things they're providing, right? These are called as cloud computing. Cloud computing, those are called as public cloud because the thing here is these are owned and operated by third party cloud service providers. Like these data centers are owned and operated by either AWS or Azure or GCP. I mean either Amazon people or Microsoft or Google. Okay, so which deliver their computing resources like servers and storage over the internet. So this is called as public cloud. Means, see, suppose uh, think Cognizant had got an application to deploy. Cognizant got a request to deploy an application. Okay, they can deploy their application in the same data center. Okay, and at the same time, think Infosys had a requirement to deploy another application. They can also deploy on the same data center because they are just consuming virtual machines. They don't have any authority on the physical servers. Okay, I mean, if you see here, this is the server, right? On the server many virtual servers got created, right? Okay, we are not sure because maybe Infosys application hosted on the same server, maybe Cognizant related application hosted on the same server. They are sharing same physical resources. Okay, even though both VMs, I mean both virtual servers are isolated, both are sharing same physical resource, right? So and so that is called as public cloud because all the servers, okay, all the servers are maintaining. Okay, we don't have any authority or any access to this physical server. Okay, we have access only on the virtual machines created on the physical server, and the complete authority and the authority or complete access complete access uh, maintained by either Azure, I mean either Microsoft or Google or Amazon. So that's called as public cloud. We can simply say as public cloud as, okay, and operated by third party cloud service providers which deliver their computing resources and storage. Okay, and we have one more cloud like hybrid cloud in the sense combination of public and combination of private and public. Okay, so what will happen in hybrid cloud in the sense, okay, think I have a banking application. Okay, so think I have a banking application. All the banking related databases I can store in my own data center because I need high level of security. No one can access or no one try need make any attempt to access the data. So that's the reason I will maintain all the database servers in my own data center. Okay. At the same time, I can deploy all the applications. I mean, front end mm, on either Amazon or AWS or Google related cloud. So this is called, so TCS have their own private cloud. At the same time, they are using public cloud. So this combination, I mean, maintaining private and public, this combination is called hybrid cloud. Okay. Nowadays, most of the companies have either working with public cloud or hybrid clouds. Okay. So these are all the three types of clouds: private, public, and hybrid. So any questions related to types of clouds? So now I will share you like why we have this much demand on cloud. Because thing here is, as I mentioned, right, previously when application people needs to deploy any application on the server, okay, because these are their own data centers, right, they need to have, they need to hire network engineers, Windows administrators, Linux administrators, they need to hire storage administrators, they need to hire database administrators. At the same time, I can simply, with this approach, I mean, if we have only private cloud, okay, I will first provide you advantages. Okay? First advantages with private cloud. The only one advantage is security. Okay, other than that, we don't have any advantage, because we have whole authority on the physical servers and everything. Okay. And coming to disadvantages, we have a lot of disadvantages. The thing here is, we need upfront investmentation, upfront invest. Okay, we need invest lot of money to buy servers, everything. At the same time, we need to hire people, and we have to maintain data centers. Here it will come like power, because 24 hours we have to provide power facility. Like as I mentioned, right, server needs to run 24/7, so power facility. At the same time, we have to provide security, because okay, someone can come into data center and they can simply destroy the servers, right? So we have to provide security. So these are all the disadvantages we have with private cloud. Okay, we have to invest, okay, prior to any application. Before any application needs to be deployed, we need to set up each and everything. We need to buy servers, we need to install respective softwares, we need to set up storage, we need to set up network, we need to set up databases, everything we have to do. For that, we need to invest some money. At the same time, we have to hire people and we have to maintain our data centers. Okay, and we have to maintain security. At the same time, see, now I bought servers 10 years back, right? Now suppose I bought servers now. Okay, in 2022 2023 I bought servers, but after 30 years, okay, in suppose in 2040, same infrastructure can't help to run my application, right? Because so see, whatever the laptop I bought in 2010, okay, it won't support the applications or the games or anything which I am using now. See, it not support, right? Because at the time we have i3 or any low level process. Now we have i7, okay, 12th generation high level of processors. So that is the reason every 10 to 20 years, every time we have to upgrade our infrastructure to meet any applications. Okay, so that's the reason. Is also one of the disadvantage. Coming to public cloud, there are many advantages, like no upfront investment. Okay, we can directly create a server on either AWS, Azure, or a GCP, we can directly create a server. We have to just pay as per our consumption. So that's they are called as pay as you go model. Okay, how much we use that amount we are going to pay, and everything we don't need to maintain data centers. Everything is going to maintain by respect to cloud provider, either AWS or Azure or Google. Okay, and we don't need to bother about security. Okay, everything will be managed by public. And main thing is like scaling. Okay, suppose if I want to scale any server, it's not possible to scale immediately. Okay, we need to buy. Suppose I have 500 GB hard disk. Okay, I want to, because of the storage constraints, I want to increase 500 to 1000 I mean 1 TB hard disk. So it's not easy to increase the storage in a moment. Okay, it needs so many approvals. I have to buy another 500 GB hard disk. To add this hard disk, for that I need downtime. Everything involves time and everything involves manual power. But here in cloud, I mean public cloud, we can do scaling within minutes. Okay, suppose I have a virtual machine with 32 GB. Suppose I have a VM with 32 GB. Okay, so now I'm getting huge load and I just want to increase my RAM from 32 GB to 64 GB. Okay, within fraction of minutes I can increase my VM size from 32 to 64 GB. Okay, so that's the main advantage from private to public cloud. Okay, scaling. And one more thing, we can have up to date industry standard infrastructure. Okay, because see, either is even it is a Microsoft or a Google or AWS, each and everyone have will are going to maintain high standards infrastructure. Okay, they have like high standards in infra and software. So to whatever the virtualization software they are going to use, or whatever the infrastructure they are going to use, all the infrastructure like high standards. I mean, we are going to get maximum performance from the infrastructure. Okay, max performance. So this is the main advantage. Okay, coming to uh, public cloud over the private cloud. Okay, and okay, now we got to know, right, what is cloud, what is cloud computing, basic definition of cloud, what is cloud computing, and what are all the types of clouds. Okay, what is private cloud, what is public cloud, and what is hybrid cloud, and what are all the advantages and disadvantages of private and public. Okay, and you guys have to understand why people are moving from private to public. Okay, so in simple terms, okay, suppose if I want to start an company now, simply I will go to public cloud, because these are all the advantages, right? Suppose I want to start an application like mm, suppose I want to start an application like Country Delight. Okay, you all know, right? So to start the startup company, I can simply go with public cloud. I mean, I can simply go with either AWS. Okay, either AWS or Azure or GCP. Okay, because nowadays no one is going to go with private cloud, because for if I go with private cloud, I need at least 50 lakhs in my hand, because as I mentioned, right, to build to buy servers, to hire people, everything, these are cost involvement, more cost involvement if I go with private cloud. So that's the reason now people are going with public cloud. Means they can simply create a server in either AWS, Azure or GCP, and say they can simply deploy their application on servers. So each and every startup application will go with public cloud. Okay, as I mentioned, right, AWS, Azure or GCP. And like old companies like TCS, okay, Infosys, okay, previously they have their own data centers and all the applications were deployed in their own data centers. But as I mentioned, right, every time they have to upgrade their infrastructure every 10 years. So that's the reason nowadays what are all the applications of projects which were hosted on TCS private cloud data centers, they are migrating to cloud. Okay, migrating to cloud in the sense, again, they are going to migrate to AWS or Azure or GCP. Okay, so these are the two main reasons. Okay, nowadays each and every startup company are hosting their servers on cloud. And at the same time TCS or Infosys, all the service based companies, okay, which were established nearly 20 to 30 years back, okay, they are also migrating all their applications from private cloud to public cloud because of the advantages they are getting. Okay, because these are all the advantages, right, they are getting. So that's the reason we have huge recruitment. Okay, we have huge recruitment related to cloud engineers, because whoever, like cloud engineer in the sense, here cloud engineers is either AWS, Azure or GCP. Okay, it's completely depend upon organization. Organization may use AWS, organization may use Azure, organization may use GCP. Okay, whatever it may be, whoever hired as cloud engineer, okay, their main roles and responsibilities are like they are going to deploy, manage manage compute resources like servers, storage. Okay, initially, okay, before in private cloud, okay, we have to hire network engineers to work on network. Okay, and Windows administrators to work on Windows, I mean Windows and OS. At the same time we have to hire Linux administrators to work on Linux. Okay, and we have to hire backup administrators to work on backups, storage administrators to work on storage. But in cloud, okay, backups and okay, backups, network, everything is taken care by cloud. Okay, we have minimal work, okay, related to networks or backups. Okay, we just have to configure network. Okay, no need to no need to do from scratch like cabling work, everything. Okay, nothing we can do. We will just get the network. Okay, network in the sense, we will get the respective IPs from the cloud and we will just consume those IPs. Okay, so whoever hired as cloud engineer, right, most of the time they have to work on all these things. Okay, I mean they have to deploy and manage compute resources. Okay, and at the same time they have to configure and manage networking, and they have to implement and manage storage. They have to manage security, monitoring, creating resources. These are all the major responsibilities. Okay, whoever joined as a cloud engineer, okay, either if he joined like either AWS administrator, AWS admin, or Azure admin, or GCP admin. Our course completely covers Azure admin. Okay, I will share you why. Okay, nowadays, okay, previously, as I said, right, AWS started in 2006. Okay, at that time most of the people like TCS, Infosys, most of the people migrated their applications to AWS because they don't have any competitor. Okay, they simply migrated their applications to AWS public cloud for cost saving purpose. But in 2010, Microsoft came up with cloud computing solution like Azure. Okay, so people started comparing AWS and Azure. Okay, compared to AWS, Azure is much cheaper in few aspects. See, because see, suppose I deployed my application. Okay, and the application backend is SQL database. Okay, and SQL database. Okay, and SQL database is owned by Microsoft. Here what happens is AWS is paying think 1,000 rupees. Okay, 1,000 rupees for Microsoft for SQL DB license. Okay, and it is selling same thing to customers for 1,500 rupees. Okay, TCS or Infosys, whoever are using SQL databases for their application. So that's the reason people are migrating from AWS to Azure now, because instead of paying 1,500 to AWS, I can simply host my application on Azure and I can pay only 1,000 rupees, right? Because because SQLDB is the Microsoft product, so they are going to offer much lesser price compared to AWS. So that's the reason many SQL DB dependent applications are moving from AWS to Azure. First thing. And if you see here trends nowadays, okay, 50% market share. No, before, I think few years back, 70% market share belongs to AWS. But nowadays, okay, 50 off of the percent, like 50 to 60% now market share is Azure, because as I mentioned, right, all the people whoever that deployed their applications on AWS, right, most of the things are moving to Azure. That is the first thing. Okay, the second thing is, okay, see why, as I mentioned, right, I worked in NCR. Okay, in NCR I worked on few retail projects. Okay, the thing here is we are not going to deploy our retail projects on AWS, because AWS in the sense Amazon. Okay, AWS belongs to Amazon, right? Amazon intern have a retail business. So that's the reason. Okay, if we have an assumption like, if we deploy if we deploy our application on AWS, they may stole our idea, or they are going to copy our idea. They are going to start similar kind of business. So that is the reason mostly retail applications. So our company retail applications won't deploy it on AWS. We deployed our applications on Amazon. Okay, so we already, I'm not sure, maybe many of the people know the news, like, right, Netflix. If you observe Netflix, right, most of the Netflix servers hosted on AWS. Okay, but within few years, okay, within few years, Amazon came up with a concept like Amazon Prime. So people thought that, okay, Amazon people, because these guys hosted their servers on AWS, right? So most of the people thought that, okay, Amazon people just went through the application which was hosted on AWS servers, and they just copied the idea behind Netflix and they started Amazon Prime. Most of the people think like that. So that's the reason, okay, we don't deploy, in general, we don't deploy the applications, because Amazon have many branches. They have different branches. So that is the second reason. And as I mentioned, right, and third thing is, okay, compared to AWS, Azure UA is much more comfortable. Okay, because I have idea on AWS, okay, GCP, Azure. But the thing is I find more convenient way, because we have rich features. Like, so I will go through the portal later. We have better UA compared to AWS. Okay, if you open AWS here, okay, you can check the better UA, because they maintain lot of backend infrastructure code, everything for better UA functionality. So that is the main thing. Okay, so that's the reason nowadays most of the people are moving to Azure. Okay, as I mentioned, right, recently I moved to a product based organization. Okay, in our company itself, okay, we are planning to hire nearly 5,000 people, okay, in coming 2 to 3 years. And our company is completely dependent on Azure, because and fourth point is, few companies have tie up with Microsoft. So that's the reason many companies nowadays planning to move their applications, are creating or deploying new applications on Azure. Okay, and coming to GCP is an emerging technology. Okay, nowadays only few applications are hosted in GCP, and it's completely new. It's an emerging cloud, and it has to develop many features. So people at present not showing interest to deploy applications in GCP, even though if it is an SQL DB based application. Okay, again I have to pay. GCP again have to pay to Microsoft, because at the end of the day, SQL database or any Microsoft related product, if any cloud is using Microsoft related product, they have to pay to Microsoft, and they are going to charge much money from us. So that's the reason nowadays Azure has more flexibility. Okay, more command over those two clouds, AWS and GCP. Okay, so and coming to I think we have discussed about cloud types of clouds, and what are all the advantages, what are all the why people are migrating to public cloud rather than using private cloud, and why people are morely focusing on Azure rather than AWS. Okay, we have covered all these topics. Okay, and one more thing, in Azure we have different roles, like as I mentioned, right, we have Azure administrator. People can go for Azure administrator. Okay, for that it's better if they have Microsoft certification, because few companies will look for certification. It's not mandatory, but few companies will go through their resume. If they thought like, okay, this guy done Microsoft certification, they thought, okay, it's better to process this candidate for interview. Okay, so we have different roles like Azure administrator, and we have a role like Azure security engineer. Okay, for that they have to do Azure 500 exam. And our course completes 60% portion of this Azure security engineer, and we have one more role like Azure architect. Okay, and for that they have to write Azure 104 Azure administrator exam. After that they have to write Azure 305 exam. And we have Azure developers, Azure DevOps. Azure for DevOps, they have to write Azure 400, and I think for this they have to write Azure 204. Okay, so whoever whatever the field it may be, right, they need. Okay, suppose Azure DevOps. Nowadays people who joined in as Azure admin, right, somehow they have to use Azure DevOps, okay, to deploy the infrastructure. I will cover why Azure DevOps, why people need Azure DevOps knowledge. Even though he joined as an Azure admin, I will cover later in upcoming sections. But whatever the role it may be, either it Azure admin or Azure security engineer, Azure architect, Azure developers, Azure DevOps. Okay, everyone needs this. This is the main, okay, heart of the Azure. Okay, everyone needs Azure administration knowledge, because see, to get Azure 104 exam, okay, either they have to pass Azure 104 exam or Azure 204 exam. Okay, So to attain age at 104, I mean Azure DevOps expert, they have to pass either Azure administration exam or Azure developers exam. Again, for Azure developers, again they need at least some extent of knowledge on Azure administration. For security engineer, as I mentioned, right, our course 60% covers covers Azure security engineering portion. Okay, whoever it may be. Okay, even though if he's an Azure security engineer, they have to work on most of the tasks which Azure admin will do. Okay, but they will work, they will handle few more tasks, like they will use like Azure Microsoft Defender, Sentinel. Okay, so that's the reason our course completes 60, covers 60%, okay, of Azure security engineer. And Azure architect, in the sense, who comes under architect, in the sense they are the one who design okay, networking, design storage, okay, design I will show you a simple example. Okay, who comes under architecture. See this is see this is okay, not this one. Suppose, see, this is the basic ecart application. Okay, so okay, I don't know, it may be hard for you to understand. Okay, but architecture will design this architecture, like architecture will mention to the team, like you need to have one resource group. Under resource group you need to have one web app. Okay, and web app needs to connect SQL instance. Okay, how the connection will work? With the help of key vault. Okay, and you, if you have to copy production data to test data, you need to have a data factory. To store custom data backups, you need to have a storage account. So, see, this entire architecture will be designed by Azure architect. Okay, for that, people needs to have at least to, okay, 12 to 13 years experience. Okay, that too, they need to have knowledge on multiple clouds. That means they need to have knowledge on Azure or AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, like that. Okay, so our responsibility as a Azure administrator, our responsibility is we have to create this web app, we have to create this key vault, we have to create this SQL instance. Okay, here, see, as I mentioned, right, whoever joined as an Azure administrator, they have to take care about web apps, they have to take care about SQL databases, they have to take care about storage, everything. Okay, nowadays we don't have anything like database engineers, network engineers. Okay, in future we have only cloud engineers. Okay, cloud engineer is the whole and sole responsible guy who is to take care everything like databases, storage, networking, everything. Okay, we don't have any concept like network engineers, storage engineers, database engineers. Okay, that is the reason I have also moved from database engineer to Azure administrator. Okay, so our responsibility as administrator, our responsibility is to create these resources. Okay, we can create these resources with the help of portal, with the help of PowerShell, with the help of Azure CLI, or with the help of ARM templates. Okay, we are going to cover all the methods how to create these resources. Okay, now you got an idea, right, what architect guy will do and what an admin guy will do. Architect guy will design the entire application, whereas an admin guy will create resources based upon the requirement. Okay, so our course will give basic idea, but to get an architect, as I mentioned, right, he needs to have at least 12 to 13 years experience. Okay, and our course won't cover anything related to Azure development role, but they can, but whoever wants to get job in Azure developers, right, definitely they need knowledge on Azure administration. Okay, and Azure DevOps, as I mentioned, right, definitely Azure DevOps guy need knowledge on Azure administration. Okay, so any queries? This is all about I want to cover today. If you have any queries, we can go now.